Okay, guys. I'm making this video from the previous video that I made. You know, that Scott Cawthon is not retiring. I can prove it. If I can find a video that can prove that Scott Cawthon is not retiring, might be off of any YouTuber, might be off of anything. But anyways, let's get into the video, I guess. Okay. Let's do this. Don't mind that. I was trying to search up the meme that I just posted a few minutes ago. Just don't mind what you just saw. But yeah, this video right here. But just why? Here we go. We're gonna search up some. No. Yes, this should help. Film Fairy always works.
This is going to be a hard one. Today we're going to talk about FNAF, like we have so many other times before on the channel. Speaking of, how many times have we talked about FNAF on this channel? Let's see. $43. Oh, jeez. For some reason, I thought it was more. Wait. Oh, that's what it is. If you add the game theory videos and all the partner shows, we've technically done 49 episodes on FNAF. And let me just say, this is not the big 50th episode that I really anticipated. For those of you who don't know, FNAF has been in the news a lot lately, and not for any good reasons, like the release of a new game, or them finally deciding to make the obvious call and cast me as phone guy in the upcoming movie. Hello? Consider that my audition reel, Blumhouse. I would also be willing to accept the role of Purple Guy. Phone guy, Matt Pat, Scott Cawthon. Now, the reason it's been trending on Twitter and blowing up all over the blogosphere have centered around the creator Scott Cawthon and his recent decision to retire from the series. You heard that right, friends. Scott, my longtime nemesis, is stepping down. Only one will remain standing, and that one is me. He's actually retiring with plenty of money, so who's the real winner here? It's not me. As he himself said in his final post, and I quote, "I've had a blessed, fulfilling," it took me a minute to find it, I'm sorry. "I've had a blessed, fulfilling, and rich career. I've tried to make some good games, let the debate ensue, and I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet. But here, on the 7th anniversary of the first game's trailer, I realize I miss a lot of things that I got to focus on before FNAF became such a success. I miss making games for my kids, I miss doing it just for fun, and I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All this is to say that I'm retiring." End quote. He then goes on to thank everyone for their kindness, say that he's excited to spend time with his family, and assure everyone that FNAF is going to continue under the guidance of someone of his choosing. Scott, consider this channel my application for the role. I'm here for you, buddy. All kind of joking, but also kind of not joking aside, this alone would be a huge deal, right? One of the most successful indie developers of all time stepping down from his still mega popular series after 7 years, with a book series still being released until the end of the year, a new game on the verge of being released, and a movie that's still in the works. I mean, he takes his victory lap around the internet as everyone celebrates his work, and he fades away to go spend time with his family doing whatever it is that indie devs devs do with their piles of cash. Buy a cereal wall, a candy room, bacon every day for breakfast. I don't know why I think that, but I just imagine that bacon is something that rich people have for breakfast every day because it's like the best food ever. But that's not the complete picture of what's going on here, because it's actually the circumstances around his retirement that caused the hashtags to trend. You see, in the days leading up to his announcement, word had gotten out that Scott had contributed sizable amounts of money to various political campaigns in the years between 2016 and 2020. Using the website OpenSecrets.com, an independent
Okay. Film Fury never lies. Damn. He's really retiring. But, wait. The good part about it, someone's gonna be taking over. We don't know how good he is at making games. But it could be anyone. So that means someone is going to finish the series of Cassidy, but it's going to be not the way that he's expecting it to be, hopefully. No, it's... Well, let's... I guess this video is not going to be as long as I thought it would be.
Profit that tracks U.S. political donations, users learned that Scott had contributed around $42,000 to various political campaigns. Now, that on its own might not have been all that newsworthy. No, what made people sit up and take notice was who he had contributed funding to. Republican candidates like Ben Carson, Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, controversial political figures whose voting histories had been anti-civil rights over the years, especially as it relates to the LGBTQ communities, which, you know, a large portion of the FNAF fan base is. And I've seen a lot of people online responding with a, so what's the big deal to all of this news? But you have to stop and actually think for a minute about the position of a lot of the LGBTQ fans of this franchise. This revelation understandably hurt a lot of members of the FNAF fan community, considering that Scott's franchise has been this welcoming and inclusive space for them. One where a lot of people have found the ability to express their unique identities, to know that their support of these games and their game's creator, especially the financial support that comes with that their dollars had wound up funding campaigns for people who are looking to withhold or remove their rights, to fund the elections of people who would forward legislation that treats them as less than human. Yeah, that's gonna feel really horrible. It's gonna feel like a betrayal. It's gonna feel like you had funded your own worst enemy. At first, people thought that Scott's account must have gotten hacked, right? There was no way that he could have done this, or at the very least that maybe he donated to a blanket Republican fund where his dollars had gotten funneled into individual campaigns without his knowledge. But no. After a few days, Scott took to Reddit and affirmed that these were indeed his choices, which then just proceeded to blow the internet up even more. A few days later, he retired, and that was that. A confusing and awkward end to the career of someone who had legitimately changed the face of horror and indie gaming forever. Now, a lot of you have been asking me for my response to the whole thing. Does the channel stop covering FNAF? Do I still support Scott? How do I feel about all this? How should you feel about all this? And honestly, there is a lot to unpack here. A lot. One of the reasons it's taken me so long to respond is because I've had to sort it all out in my own head. I didn't really know how to feel. We've been teaching my son Oliver, who just turned 3 recently, about how sometimes you can feel multiple emotions at once and how that's confusing and how it's hard sometimes. And that lesson at 3 is still just as hard when you're 33. So I had to take time to do my own soul searching and do my own research, quite honestly. One of the great things about the internet is that it moves so fast, right? You need something and boom, it is right there available at your fingertips. But one of the awful things about the internet is that boom, it moves so fast. There is no time to think. Everything requires an immediate response, a hot take, your knee-jerk reaction, a headline. Search trends last for like a day or two at best. New game releases are like old by the end of the week. New video? Well, gotta be the first to like and comment without actually watching what it's about. There's no time for thoughts, for research, for introspection if you're going to be part of a conversation, or no time to look back and actually analyze the data. I mean, heck, by the time that you bothered to finish reading Scott's response to all this drama, he had already posted his retirement. So, since this is going to be a long and tricky episode, to say the least, let me start off by making it crystal clear that I am pro-LGBTQ rights. And you don't have to take my word for that. I was in theater for years before I started doing YouTube, and it is difficult to be a narrow-minded bigot in that industry. If you know, you know. I'm a member of the LA LGBT Center, and I attend their events because I support their mission. And most importantly, I've done the best I can to keep a sense of...
Wait. This happened 2 years ago? No. That...
So this happened 2 years ago? Audience members, and also to my team members when they tell me that something isn't okay, or no longer okay, or they explain an LGBT perspective.
Okay, so now we know. I thought this would be like short, like... And here's another film.
Hey guys, Super Horror Bro Mike here, and in today's video, I have some sad news for you. I don't know if you guys will have heard this yet.
It's also
the internet's
happened 2 years
all
ago.
the rage talking about it, because it is a big deal. If you're in the Five Nights at Freddy's community, this is probably one of the biggest news stories that's ever hit the fandom, because the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Cawthon, has decided that it's time for him to retire and step down as the leader of creative decisions for the franchise. I first got into Five Nights at Freddy's years ago when it was first out, but I didn't play it. I was like you guys, watching YouTubers like Markiplier play it, and it wasn't until Five Nights at Freddy's 3 where I finally decided to buy a Five Nights at Freddy's game and start playing it for myself. And I didn't love every Five Nights at Freddy's game ever made. Some of them hit with me, some of them don't, but you know, some really great games in there, and every single one of them was full of this creativity and energy and quirkiness that Scott always brought to his games. He was a really creative, fun guy with a great sense of humour that brought a lot of energy to his games and wasn't afraid to try new things even if they didn't always work. So I think the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise won't be the same without him. It's actually going to be a very different sort of animal, so to speak. Before we get too far into this video and I start to talk about what I think it means for the future of the franchise, I do want to read you Scott's letter. This is a letter he posted on his official site, scottgames.com, so you can go read it there for yourself. He says, before I say anything else, check out this awesome piece of fan art. Pretty amazing stuff, right? I have boxes and boxes of artwork like this from fans that I've saved over the years. I've tried to answer as many letters as I could, and I apologise to anyone that I've somehow missed. Someday when I have a bigger living room, maybe I'll make a giant collage of fan art I've collected. Stuff like this has made it all worthwhile to me over the last 7 years. I've had a blessed, fulfilling and rich career. I've been shown great kindness and I've tried to show great kindness in return. I've tried to make some good games. Let the debate ensue. And I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fanbase on the planet. But here on the 7th anniversary of the first game's trailer, as I realised that I was in my mid-30s when I created the series, and now I'm approaching my mid-40s, I realised that I miss a lot of the things I got to focus on before FNAF became such a success. I miss making games for my kids, I miss doing it just for fun, and I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All of this to say that I am retiring. I have been shown tremendous love and support over the last week, a lot of which has come from the LGBTQ community. The kindness shown to me has been surreal. Is this the end of FNAF? No, this just means that someone else will eventually be running the show, someone of my choosing and someone that I trust. We will have to wait and see how it all plays out, but an announcement will be made at some point. I have 6 kids now, although one of them is currently the size of a blueberry. I love them dearly. They are my whole world and my whole universe. I want to focus my attention on them, focus on protecting them, and spending my time making things for them. I only ask that my fanbase respect my decision. I will still be around, just not in the same capacity I used to be. What a blessed career I've had, what wonderful people I've met, and what a tremendous blessing to have been able to know all of you. Thank you so much, and see you on the flip side. And we've got a piece of art there as well from an unnamed fan who is 8 years old who sent that to Scott, and he's posted that a random piece of artwork from a fan in his goodbye letter to the community, and I think that's kind of really sweet there. I think, this is very sad, it's very bittersweet. On one hand, Scott is getting to retire and have an early retirement because he's made a lot of money through Five Nights at Freddy's and spend the time making games for his children.
Well, it's sad to see you go, but thank you. So, Scott, goodbye. Thank you for everything you've done for us.
Thank you, Scott, for all that you've done for us. We will never. We're proud of you, Scott. Thank you for the times.
Thank you, Scott Cawthon, for making something so special for us to enjoy.
Thank you, Cawthon. We wish you luck wherever you may go.
These eyes are on your side.
The golden rule still applies. You still need to treat people the way that you want to be treated. And you're seeing it less and less these days. Because people have an automatic tendency to assume that if someone is disagreeing with someone, they are their enemy. And they're inherently bad, and they should be fought. But you can disagree with someone and still respect them. You can even hate someone. You can hate and abhor their actions. They're doing terrible things, and they need to be hated. But you still need to treat them.
See what I mean?
Hello, Five Nights at Freddy's and Five Nights at Candy's fans. So I'm here to talk about Scott Cawthon's.
What about those other things? What about those two things? Who will make them? Well, they did say that someone else is going to make them, but who? Who are we talking here? I'm gonna make a short of this, huh? What? Well, we don't know who other employees work there.
Hello, Five Nights at Freddy's and Five.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. You either die.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
We will never forget you.
Thank you.
Part 3 of
The golden rule still applies. You still need.
You either.
my beat? Beautiful. I don't hate you. Hello?
I'm gonna make a short of this.
What happened? Oh my god! Yo, we are inside. We're literally inside Freddy Fazbear's Pizza right now. Today's a big day.
6 years ago. R.I.P. Thank you, Scat. We'll miss ya. Peace out.